it's you again. Just let me finish up here and we'll get right into it. What are you doing, man? Why do I have to answer all the emails? Calm down. I'm just about to talk to these guys about our barrel program. Stick around, you might learn something. Hello and welcome back to the barrel program. This time we will actually look into our barrel program, which is of course fitting because that's what we call our little TV show. We'll be tasting some beers that we've made in barrels over the years. We'll be looking into the process of making barrel-aged beers, what kind of effort goes into it, and at the end maybe we'll have a little giveaway. But first, let's have a look at the barrels. So making these barrel-aged beers is a bit of a process. A normal stainless steel fermented clean beer will be ready in generally about 3 weeks, whereas our barrel-aged beers takes more like 3 years. It starts out with just a normal brew day. We start out with the malted barley, make a beer, boil it. Everything is very standard at that point in time, except for the fact that usually we don't add any hops to the beer at that point. The reason for that is that it's not a hoppy beer. B, we don't want any bitterness, and C, the hops would actually inhibit the bacteria that we want to grow in the beer to make it sour. We then cool it down as normal. We put it into a stainless steel fermenter as normal. Generally, we'll pick out a very good barrel from our barrel program and add that into the beer at that point in time as a yeast starter. The beer then ferments almost to completion in stainless, and after that we rack it into barrels for extended storage. Generally, the beer will spend at least a year in the barrel, but more often than not it turns into 2 years, and quite often it turns into 3 years. If the beer that we make is a fruit beer, we'll add the fruit at least 6 months before bottling, and we would either do that into a tank or tote or straight into the barrel. When we're ready to blend the beer, we'll pick the barrels that we think we're going to use, taste them all, see if they taste good, figure out in our head whether or not they're going to taste good together, and then we'll do most of the blend back into a stainless steel tank. At that point in time, the blend is almost complete, and we will only adjust if the beer is lacking something. If it's lacking some acidity, for example, we'll pick some very sour barrels and stick those in. If it's lacking some maltiness or fruitiness, we'll find barrels that have those characteristics and put that into the final blend. After we've done the final blend, we generally let it sit for at least a month, maybe 2, maybe 3 sometimes, just to sort of mellow out and ferment together. All the barrels would have fermented differently, so just to make sure that the beer is stable, we leave it in tank for a couple of months. Then we prime it with some simple sugars for bottle conditioning. We bottle it, let it sit for another month or 2 while it carbonates in the bottle, then it's ready to drink. So the first beer we'll try is this here 2012 barrel-aged Saison. It was one of the first barrel-aged beers we made, and it's essentially just a New Zealand hop Saison that was aged in Chardonnay barrels for about a year before we bottled it. From memory, it turned quite sour, which was really good, really sort of lambic-esque, you could say, but I haven't actually had it for maybe 2 or 3 years, so it'll be interesting for me to see what it tastes like now. Nice and yellowy orange. Funky. That's really good. That's really, really good. It's about as sour as I remember it being 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe slightly less, if anything. But yeah, no, it's got a nice, fresh fruitiness and some barnyard funk behind it. It's impressive that you can make beer that's good 5 years later. It's not very often that happens in the beer world. So the next one is our Wild Feijoa. This is the only beer out of our barrel program that we make every year. The base beer is a lambic-like pale sour beer that's been in barrels for at least a year, more likely 2 years. We then add Feijoas and let it sit for another year before we blend it and barrel it. Yeah, it's a very popular beer that we make. People like Feijoas. Certainly a very New Zealand thing, the Feijoa fruit. This is the 2016 vintage, so it's the latest one we've made. 2017 is still sitting on the Feijoas. Wow, just huge Feijoa aroma. Very sour, very, very sour. If you like tart beers, then this is definitely one. Yeah, nice. Effervescence, spritzy, refreshing, sour, funky, complex. It's got it all. So the next beer is a bit of a treat. This is the first barrel-aged beer that we ever made, batch 18. It was made almost exactly 7 years ago to the day. In fact, we've written it right here. It was brewed on December 15th, 2010, barreled on January 10th, 2011, bottled on April 18th, 2011, and it's best before December 2018. It's an imperial stout, been in American oak barrels, so it's got a lot of sort of bourbony flavors going on, I'm sure. We brewed it with jaggery, which is raw sugar from India, coffee, and yeah, then the barrels. 11%, 7 years old. See what it tastes like. Wow, it's very rich, very chocolatey, very coffee. That's really good. I wish you could taste this, but unfortunately, obviously, it's no longer preserved. Yeah, it's super rich, super complex, chocolate, coffee, all that good stuff. Oh, I'm just gonna sit back and finish that. So I was planning on tasting 2 more beers, 2 more heavy hitters. We've got our Boumaillé, which is our 16% Imperial Stout aged in Pinot Noir barrels, 3 years. Very big, very heavy beer. The next one would be the freeze distilled version of that same beer. And basically we make this by freezing the beer, then letting it thaw and draw off the liquid. So essentially the ice stays behind, the water stays behind, and the stronger beer comes through on the other end. So this one, where we ice distilled maybe 5 or 6 times, and it came out at 25%. Very, very special beer. We only made about 80 bottles of this, and none of them are available for sale. But that batch 18 was pretty good, and I think I'm just gonna finish the bottle. So I think maybe we'll give these away instead. All you gotta do is like this video and share it, and you'll go into the draw for these 2 bottles, 2 glasses, and we'll throw in a brand new barrel t-shirt as well. So that's all we have for this time. Hope you enjoyed a little walk through the barrels and the beers that we make from the barrels. Feel free to enter the competition. Very special beers, very special glassware. Just like it and share. Till next time, drink some good beer.